Good morning, hello, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you might be. Frank Thacker here, and welcome to the Daily Peacemaker. And a Happy New Year to all. And I hope the new year has gone well for you so far. And so the word hope, I've found myself thinking, what does that mean? And I was going to do a little podcast, and I says, no, it's too convoluted for me to find out. But then, within the last few days, let me read a couple of things that came across my path. One is something from Gratefulness. I usually get a daily saying from them. This came, um, eh, wherever. So the end of last week, word for the day. Celebrating what we hope for together is better than fighting over what we believe separately. So I'll read that again. Celebrating what we hope for together is better than fighting over what we believe separately. So there was that. And then this book I'm reading, I don't know if you can see it, it's Change Your World. It's okay so far. I haven't read that much, but a few days ago when I was reading it, it had this saying, optimism is the belief that things will be better. Hope is the faith that together we can make things better. Optimism is a passive virtue, hope an active one. Says it takes no courage to be an optimism, but it takes a great deal of courage to have hope. So there's another thing that would hit me about hope. And then yesterday on Facebook, those that are familiar with Facebook, you get these every so often memory things from 5 years ago, 6 years, 2 months ago, whatever. And yesterday there was one that popped up on my page from 5 years ago, I think it was, and it's a quote from Martin Luther King Jr. And he says, "We must accept definitive disappointment, but never lose hope or never lose in future hope or never lose." Let me try that again. Okay. We must accept finite disappointment, but never lose infinite hope. So all these things about hope are flying around, and I started to, reflect on it and to understand what it really means. And I don't know that I really got a real tight understanding of it. I actually probably well let me babble on and kind of share what came across my mind. So one of the other things is, out of the Christian tradition, you have faith, hope, and charity, and they're considered virtues. So hope can be seen as a virtue, and I'm not sure what virtue means. Is it grace? Is it an attitude you have? That's another word for hope. He's a hopeful person. So is that an attitude that you carry around where you're always hoping for the best? Is it a prayer? We often say, I hope the best for you, or I hope things work out for you, or I hope you get that job. So is that some kind of prayer or prayer energy or something that we're saying to the person? I don't know, could be. And then the thing that resonated the most with me is something my mother-in-law used to say. And no, this is not a mother-in-law joke. She used to say, live in hope, die in despair. And I'm sure many of you have heard that before. And when I first heard it, okay, and I started saying, well, that makes sense. If you live, if you have life, then you are hopeful for that a lot of things can happen. And if you are sort of, I don't want to say dead physically, but kind of, this isn't going to happen, you're sort of giving up, you kind of move into despair. But then I was rethinking that recently, and so I might have had it backwards or convoluted somehow. Because what I began to see is, if you have hope in something, then you're alive. You have energy about that. And so if you are trying for a job and you're really hopeful that you can get the job, then that kind of gives you some perkiness, some good energy, some okay, I can do this. And on the other side, um, if you're in despair, you kind of die, not physically, obviously, but you kind of like say, "Oh, the heck with that," I'm not going to get the job, and you don't even go maybe for the interview because you've convinced yourself that hey, it's not going to happen. So and then I looked at myself in terms of hope, and people ask me why I do this. Why do you spend that time doing these podcasts and working on it? And um, part of it is I enjoy it. Time out for a minute. Okay, thank you. And this is another aspect. I believe that we can create a culture of peace. And I hope that we can do it. So that's a little bit different. You can believe something as possible, but not have much hope that it will happen, I guess. So I believe that we, ordinary, everyday people, can really create this culture of peace in which, we truly respect and honor the inherent dignity of and worth of not other people, but all living beings. So I do these podcasts with the hope that I can move the the evolution of that forward, that I can maybe touch a person here or there that and encourage them and support them in doing what they can to create this culture of peace. So do you have to believe something first before you can hope in it? I don't know. That's another complexity. So what I think, two things that sort of made sense to me is if I have hope in something, I think like that person, that thing I read, it's sort of an active attitude, or it can be. So I have hope that we can create this culture of peace. So that motivates me, gives me the energy to do different things that I do. Excuse me, I gotta scratch my nose here. And the other piece to that is hope can get you through the dark times also. So someone may be very into, say, getting a job or finishing a project, and at some points they might get overwhelmed and kind of just almost give up. But if they can rekindle that hope in them, it sort of gets them out of that dark place, that low energy place, and they can go forward. So I don't know if there is even a definition of hope. It's maybe a attitude that someone has, or is it an energy? That word is getting used more and more, energy. So it's some kind of, I guess, psycho-spiritual energy, attitude that can move you to do what you hope you can do to accomplish what you hope for. So with that in mind, I want to back up to the notion of what we're trying to do with these podcasts, and that is to inspire, support, encourage everyday people to do what they can to move forward in creating this culture of peace, this beloved community, as Martin Luther King Jr. would say. And he's often quoted as "keep your eye on the prize," which I think when you unpack that a bit, it's really about hope, that, the mountaintop, whatever, hope we can get there, hope we can do this. And in this particular arena of attempting to create this culture of peace, one of the things that can happen is you could lose hope. You know, you can get really discouraged. And um, I would point out that our main media is not very encouraging about achieving a culture of peace when you see all the stuff that they put on there. However, if you go over to other areas of information or sources of information, and the things that are going on around the world that to me are so hopeful in terms of people working together, whether it's saving rainforest or um, bringing educational projects to countries that are maybe not as well off as the United States. Just tons of medical stuff, Doctors Without Borders. Um, if you go to the website dailypeacemaker.com, there is a link to a resource page, and just click on that. And there's a number of different organizations, books, and things that you might want to check out if you're feeling like hopeless about creating a culture of peace. So those two things stand out for me. One is hope can be a real source of energy. You know, I hope I get this job. I hope we can create this culture of peace. I hope we get a new road or whatever it might be. And so it's sort of that energy, and at the same time, it's a way of lifting you out of despair to um, look for support of a belief you have, you know, and we can do that for each other, you know, to support someone to give them hope that, yeah, all right, you know, you're saying you can't get this job, but, you know, look at the qualities you have, you know, get hopeful, you can do this. Those types of things can be really helpful. So with that in mind, I hope this has been helpful for you people. And let me end with this little prayer. One of my friends did a service for a group that he's involved with. It's a spiritual group called Pilgrim People. And one of the prayers he came up with was kind of a hopeful prayer. So let me read it to you. I didn't quote where it came from, so forgive me. Um, with tears running, O great spirit, my grandfather, with running eyes, I must say the tree has never bloomed. Here I stand, and the tree is withered. Again, I recall the great vision you gave me. It may be that some little root of the sacred tree still lives. Nourish it then, that it may leaf and bloom and fill with singing birds. Hear me, that my people may once again find the good road and the sheltering tree. So that's kind of hopeful, you know, when you think about it. Even things might have gotten dark, but there's still hope that the tree of life can grow, the tree of a peaceful culture can grow. So again, thanks for listening. Good to be with you always. Hope your day goes well, and I hope you continue the journey with me creating this culture of peace. You take care. Peace.